Thomas Massey. What's up? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I heard your comment asking about like women are stupid. Can you just like elaborate on that?
Yeah. So when I say that, obviously I'm being funny or whatever. But
Right.
what I do think, honestly, is that women and men are not equal. I think women need to be subordinate to men at all times. I think feminism is a lie. Set them up for a lot of failure and a lot of inevitable heartbreak. And they're stupid because most of them buy into the lie of feminism. That's what actually makes them stupid.
So can I ask, like, what are your religious views? Like, are you like Christian? Are you?
I grew up Muslim.
Okay.
But all the people of the book, kind of understand that, men are supposed to be the patriarchs, the leaders, the head of the households, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, Islam, they all got it right.
But couldn't we agree that there's like a shift in society that like most people are equal? Like, I don't think that we should say women are less than us and that like they can't take care of themselves.
Well, that's precisely the problem. Is egalitarianism, it doesn't adhere to reality.
But we live in the reality now. Like, there are women taking care of themselves. Like, they don't need men.
Well, not really. The only reason they're able to take care of themselves is because we've civilized the world so much, where these same toxically masculine men that they criticize all the time, these are the guys that have civilized the world for them. So since we have, all this safety and technology and everything else like that, they're able to operate on their own now. But the reality is, and this is why it's so important for you young guys to understand this, though we live in an egalitarian society and women sit there and say, I want to be equal to a man, the reality is they're not attracted to that. And all of you young guys here need to understand that what women say versus what they're aroused by and what they're attracted to are two different things. So girls will sit there and say, oh, I want to be equal to you, but the easiest way to tell that's bullshit is when the bill comes, what are they doing? They're hoping that you pay for it. Okay, so, and if a woman does get with you, she still expects you to make bare minimum as much as her, if not more. So our biology, unfortunately, does not adhere to modern society.
Are you like, I just don't like, where are you getting those like ideas where like women like want you to pay for the things? Like, I mean, like, sure, we can go off like gender norms and like, like, oh, what's the deal? Like when you take a girl out on a date, like, oh, she probably expects you to pay for the bill, but like, is that every case? Like, that's the real question.
A staggering majority.
I
would say if I lined up 100 women, 90 of them are going to expect for you to pay for the first date and adhere to your masculine burner performance to some degree. And here's the thing. Notice how you even knew it. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to pay for it, blah, blah. Like, you inherently understand your roles as a guy, even though I can tell here that you're a bit more central / maybe left because you believe that women are equal to men. Even you as a guy that's centered, or maybe leftist a little bit, you even understand that there's a burner performance on you to pay for the date. But here's the difference. Women don't feel like they have to do anything for your affection. Most women feel as though I'm equal to you, but I still want to be treated like a lady. So in other words, they can pick and choose when they want to be a lady when it's advantageous to them. And this is where a lot of guys fuck up because you guys sit there, take her on the fucking date, pay for the date, treat her like a lady, but she's a fucking slut. And then you wonder why. Oh, fuck, what's going on here? This sucks. And this comes from guys not understanding the inherent differences between men and women. So they can pick and choose when they want to be a lady, but you have to always be a man, and that's the issue here. And that's fine. If a woman wants to be an egalitarian, all this other bullshit, fine. Find a girl that wants to submit to you as a guy. Because sluts are terrible people, by the way. If you guys, I'm sure many of you guys here might have dated one or been with a girl that was promiscuous. They're fucking terrible people, man. They'll ruin your life. So, and this is some shit that your father or your brother should have told you. But trust me, as an older guy, I'm 35. I went to college too. I went to Northeastern University. I was a D1 athlete, dealt with a bunch of 304s. And it's gotten a lot worse for you young guys. I feel sorry because you guys got to deal with Instagram and TikTok and all this other bullshit. We didn't have these problems when I was in school. Instagram was just becoming a thing. But now, thanks to social media, unfortunately, a lot of these girls are fucking insufferable. So, entitlement to a whole other degree. And a lot of you guys are laughing because you guys know I'm telling the fucking truth. How many bitches do we got here that are 5s that act like they're fucking 10s when in reality they bring nothing to the table besides an attitude, syphilis, and no sandwich making skills? It's fucking retarded. So, and this is the reality is, I'm probably a lot of you guys are probably nodding along in your head or like, oh yeah, that's true. Obviously, you don't want to come off as a misogynist, right, on a college campus. I get it, because these college campuses become indoctrinated fucking leftist camps. But the reality is, most women are fucking useless, if we're gonna be honest, outside of sex. If you remove sex from a woman, you'll realize, like, what the fuck is going on here? The only reason guys tolerate bad behavior from women a lot of times is for sexual access. Now, is this every woman? Of course not. But a lot of them are useless, right? And it's funny because it goes the other way around too. But if I say a lot of guys are fucking useless, no one gives a shit. But if I say a lot of women are useless, oh, that's misogynistic. You know? But anyway, anybody else have anything? Don't be scared, guys. Got a whole fucking crowd here. Got amplified sound. Agree, disagree? Okay, let's follow up. Sure.
Sorry, I got another question just because we were talking about our topics. You said systemic racism is a hoax or it's like fake or...
Yeah, it's a scam. It's a lie.
Why? Because, I mean, what about redlining? Like, are we just going to ignore that? It's kind of like...
Yeah, so when it comes to redlining, right, and just so the audience understands, basically it's like, it's a real estate situation where it fucks with the prices of homes, etc. Look, man, let's just keep it 1,000. When blacks move into your neighborhood, it's not a good sign, right? If Jews move into your neighborhood, that's a very good sign. Because, and I'm speaking from a real estate investor perspective, like your property is going to go up through gentrification. But it's not going to go up from niggification. And when blacks move into your neighborhood, property just goes down. And the reason why is because they tend to commit a lot of crimes. Now, I don't expect any of you guys to admit this, but none of us want to live in a majority black neighborhood. We're not trying to get fucking robbed. We don't do crack. It is what it is, right? And a lot of us might not want to listen to loud hip-hop at 3 o'clock in the morning. So when I say systemic racism is a scam, I'm not denying the fact that there was racism in the United States before that created problems. But what I am saying is there's nothing holding black people from success now. And anyone that still, holds on to, my slavery, my systemic racism, my reparations, like, you're just a retarded monkey. So I think guys need to, get out the victim complex and,
what educates someone? It's good schooling, right? Like, how do you get educated? You need a good school. You need to start the basis at, elementary school or, high school. And what pays for those things? Like your local taxes, your community taxes. So when it comes to if we're going to go back to redlining, what does that mean? Their property taxes are going to be lower. They're going to pay less money into the public schools.
Basically, house price, real estate prices kind of drop off when black people move in, or it's harder for blacks to get access to homes. But again,
so the schools aren't going to get funded as well. Therefore, the education is going to be lower.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of a.
But the thing is that we've created so many different affirmative action DEI programs that allow inner city kids to get out of those schools or have the opportunity to apply to colleges with lesser grades or whatever. Like what I'm trying to say is we've done a good amount to allow and facilitate people that come from poor circumstances to go to college, get an education, get an opportunity, right? This has all been done through different, programs that are not available to white people, by the way. So my thing is, I don't think systemic racism is no longer an excuse to complain as to why you're not successful. I'm a guy that came from a poor household, right? My parents are black, despite people trying to say I'm not. And we figured out a way, and there's many people that make it out the hood. And what it really comes down to is survival of the fittest. And I know that's a very sucky way to look at things, but everyone's simply not going to make it. And if you're dumb enough to sell drugs, or commit crimes or do all this other dumb stuff, well, then you're going to go to jail, and honestly, society's better off without you.
Well, but I mean, if you're built on a community and culture of honestly racism, I mean, like white people kind of looking towards down towards black people, or using the terms
I would argue most white people don't look at. If anything, most white people love black people nowadays. They love the music, they love the culture, they fucking try to dress like them. Black culture is extremely influential in American society.
You go into a white neighborhood as a black person, you're gonna get eyes like that. Why? That shouldn't be necessary.
Well, that's just reality. It's a natural human trait. Stereotypes exist for a reason, and stereotypes typically tend to be based in reality and pattern recognition. Is every single black person a criminal? Of course not. However, we've seen via stats and looking around or personal experiences that a lot of the times when people have experiences with black people, it's not favorable. It's not a good experience. Again, is that every black person? No, but they do tend to commit a disproportionate amount of crime, and it is what it is. So I think instead of people getting mad at being profiled, prove the profile wrong, right? Like myself. I'm a colored individual. People look at me crazy sometimes when I'm in white neighborhoods. Hell, when I was walking around campus, people look at me. But once I open up my mouth, speak, convey that I'm not a fucking retard, and be able to articulate myself, people are like, okay, this guy isn't a fucking moron. Cool. I don't think that there's anything wrong with proving yourself, because stereotypes are going to exist no matter what. The world does not owe you understanding. And this is one of the parts of becoming a man, is that you're always going to have to deal with adversity to some degree. And the best thing to do is take those lemons and make lemonade.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Here we go.
Let's run that back about the black community. What did you say about stereotypes of black community? Just so I'm clear.
The typical stereotypes. Criminals selling drugs, rap music, FUBU.
Who's the
fried chicken, watermelon?
That's funny.
Well, you said the stereotypes.
Yeah, that's so funny. All right, so we want to talk about drug dealing. I think we kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier. Who flooded black neighborhoods with drugs? They don't have access to the port. Black people aren't on the ports. Black people aren't the ones bringing it in from Nicaragua or wherever the fuck. How did those drugs get in these communities?
Yeah, they were smuggled in.
By who?
Hispanics typically smuggle the drugs in.
So
right, and then blacks typically do the domestic distribution.
So we're talking about you're just saying that the CIA Contra affair, all that stuff that happened, putting crack in black neighborhoods, that was just black people, crazy.
Well, you have a choice. Am I going to sell crack or am I not going to sell crack? If you decide to not sell the crack, you won't go to jail. If you decide to sell the crack, you'll go to jail.
So
but the point is that there's a choice to be made, and if you make the wrong choice, then.
So when you deny a whole community access to wealth through, redlining, when you let them access to wealth, about not giving them loans or
what's holding black people back from success now?
So history doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the present. So history doesn't affect the present. Is that what your framing?
Not really. Nothing's holding you back.
I'm one brother.
Okay.
I'm one brother.
Well, any black person that's here, nothing's holding any of you guys back. You guys are here, right?
So as far as
to get
housing,
here, right?
So you're saying that there are still no racist housing practices, even though we have a ton of statistics to say there is. You're saying that there are no racist policing practices, even though we know
I never said that.
Oh, so okay, you never said that.
Racism exists, but it does not exist to the point where it keeps you from success. So there's always going to be racist people wherever you look. There's a lot of black people that are racist, right? I would argue blacks tend to be more racist than whites sometimes. But regardless, racism is no longer a viable excuse as to why you're not successful. It's just not. It's 2025.
I
would argue, as a black person, if you're not successful in 2025, you're a fucking retard, and I'll tell you why. You have far more opportunities and benefits as a colored person than as a Caucasian. We have affirmative action, DEI. We have all these programs in place to allow minorities to basically get a leg up on the things that you're talking about before. I agree that there were some racist atrocities before. However, we've corrected it to a point where everyone has an opportunity. I would say we've almost overcorrected.
You think we've overcorrected?
Almost,
okay.
Yes.
Okay, you think we've overcorrected. So all these programs, all these things that exist, who did DEI programs mostly benefit?
They benefit blacks and women and minorities.
White women were the number one. Black people at the bottom.
Yeah.
We are at the lower part of that table. It was white women. So don't come here and say that DEI has put black people.
I am not. Well, it's giving you guys opportunities. And obviously, white women are almost.
What opportunities?
White women spearhead every liberal movement, which again, on the white guys, you guys need to take better. You guys need to, put these women back in the kitchen. Because the reality is that they fucking undermine.
Listen, this is coming from a guy who is not married. I'm married 5 years. Don't listen to this.
What does have to...
Bro, your opinions on, I'm just saying your opinions on women come from an uninformed place.
Really?
Yes.
How many women have you had sex with?
A lot.
Okay. Now, how long have you been married
for? That's provable, and I got video evidence.
Yeah, okay. Well, don't incriminate yourself. Look, you can sit here and say, you're not married, so therefore you can't talk on this. But the reality is that men are the ones that give relationships to women, not the other way around. So if I wanted to get married, I could easily get married.
Women can say no, right?
Well, women want relationships. Men gatekeep relationships.
Men need relationships.
No, women need relationships, actually.
Oh, okay. What's the statistics on single men, loneliness, depression? And what happens with these single men once they get into relationships? And what happens to women once they get in relationships or get married, statistically?
All right, so do you want to transition from race into marriage now, or did you want to finish
I'm sorry, you're the one who's talking about women. You're the one who's starting the conversation.
No, you brought up the whole I'm married thing and you showed your ring.
Listen, if you can't handle the debate, brother, if you can't handle, I got you. But what I'm saying
if you want to segue to that, we can. But
man, we can segue to that. I want to talk about race and the fact that historically we've been kept away from our communities.
And my counter to that is simply, historically does not mean now. There's nothing holding you back now.
And my counter argument to that is, then that's like saying that what happened a few minutes ago doesn't affect our present. It does. That's the way history works. That's the way time works. We have laws. We have legislation. The reason we have a country is because of shit that happened a long time ago. True or false? The reason that we have the Constitution and the laws that still govern us today are because of legislation and things that happened. But that's the way time works.
Of course.
It's past,
what I'm saying is,
and future.
Though the things happened in the past, nothing is stopping you from working in the present to change your future.
But you're like saying, like, say there's two people running a race. You just had all these obstacles in front of one, well, no obstacles in front of the other, and now you're saying, well, we're not gonna have halfway through the race, no more obstacles.
You know,
Keep
bro, let
up,
me just be
motherfucker.
honest. This is why nobody respects blacks, bro. Like this mantra right here.
Why does no one respect you?
Let me explain this. Why is that Nigerians or people from Africa or they come from the Caribbean, they come here and they make something to themselves as first generation immigrants? I'll tell you why. Because they don't have this mindset of redlining, systemic racism, reparations. They come here, even though they're black, and everyone else can identify them as not being a foundationally black American. They have the same skin color. They look black. They might not necessarily be a foundationally black American, but how is it that they're able to figure it out and come here and become successful? But people that have been here for 7 generations don't even have $7 in their fucking bank account. The problem is that blacks make too many goddamn excuses for why they're failures.
Oh, my God.
And this is the issue. Too many excuses, too many fucking complaints, too much crying. It's like
they're not. I mean, this is stuff that actually happened when we did build economic systems, when we did build communities where we had money. When we did build those things, they were what? Destroyed systematically, either by racist organizations or by legislation. That's something that actually happened. So what happens when you give a bunch of people who are one race, right, access to housing, access to loans, and you don't do that to another people? What do you think the generations after that would have happened?
If that racism is so bad, why is it that black people actually did better during the Jim Crow era? They had their own businesses. They were making more money. I'll tell you why, because the nuclear family. So when black people were the most oppressed and had the least rights and the least civil liberties, they actually did better than they do now. So, again,
reconstruction. You're talking about
nothing can keep you back from success besides yourself.
So you're talking about reconstruction, right? What happened to all those successful businesses and things that were around during Jim Crow? They were destroyed, bro. They were destroyed,
and who destroyed
cousin. Our government or white racists, but that happened. You can't even lie to that. That's history, brother. That's history.
Again, choice and accountability.
The 90s, we're just
choice
a couple. That was a little bit ago. We're still living in the body. Okay, so what you're saying?
Because
so the people in Tulsa,
people in
Tulsa, Oklahoma, they chose for the Klan to come around. They chose for that. Is that what the fuck? You're talking about choice and responsibility, brother.
And I'm saying,
what responsibilities does the government have?
What I'm saying is, in the 60s, when they were actually successful, right, they were oppressed to the highest degree and they were still successful. So there's no excuse with racism being reeled back to not be successful. That's what I'm saying. All these other things happened. Cool. Nobody cares. People need to pick themselves up from the bootstraps.
Maybe you need to start caring. Maybe people should start caring. Maybe we should have those conversations. Because if we don't take care of what happened and how people were left, like, taken away from their access to wealth, right? If we don't deal with those things, how the fuck are we going to move forward?
Again, you can move forward because blacks have more opportunities than their white counterparts who are oppressing them for so long.
Who gets the majority of scholarships?
Well, here's the thing. There are scholarships that are only available to black people that are not available to whites.
Who gets the majority of scholarships?
Now, could you imagine if there was a scholarship that was only available to whites that's not available to blacks? See where I'm going with this?
But why do you think
blacks
they
have opportunities that whites don't have,
and
they've been getting this overcorrection for a while?
But we're still saying who gets the majority of loans? Who gets over-policed? Who gets the majority of access to wealth? Who gets the majority of scholarships? It's white folk, brother.
Well, they're the majority of people. They're the majority race. So, of course, they're going to be the majority in a lot of these regards that you're speaking about.
If they're the majority race, how come black people, right? But you want to talk about black people in regards to crime, but you don't want to talk about how that crime got into those neighborhoods or how those things, what responsibility does white America or America, the government, have as a whole for what you keep talking about responsibility? What responsibility does the government have?
Here's the problem. Blacks want to blame the government and not blame themselves. Oh, it's the government's fault. No, it's your fault for selling the drugs.
So the government has no responsibility. They have no fault, nothing bad. They didn't do anything bad. They're good. It's all gravy.
The government's always going to do dumb shit.
So we can't hold the government accountable.
Here's the thing. You can't depend on the government to save you. Like, just don't commit crimes.
You're wild. So the government, what utility does the government have?
You can't depend on the government to save you.
But okay, cool. But why are they destroying us?
They're not destroying you.
So
right now, how is the government holding you back from success right now?
I can't believe I got to do this
How is the government
again,
holding you back from success right now?
The race.
I don't care about the 80s with the crack.
No, okay, we'll talk about right now. What
How?
race of people are the highest exonerated? What race of people are the highest of wrongful convictions? What race of people are statistically over-policed? Go on.
Well, who commits a disproportionate amount of violent crime in America? So yeah.
Wait, I have a question. If majority of wrongful convictions are black people, and the majority of wrongful arrests, which is provable statistically, are black people, then could you assert from these statistics and look at the one where you're saying that, they're committing more violent crime, right? When
sure.
You're saying that one, then what does that tell you? Their communities are over-policed.
This is a minority of cases, but the majority is they're fucking guilty.
The majority of black people are not.
No, I said the majority of these people that get arrested. The majority of these people that get arrested are guilty.
A white criminal offended and a black criminal offended who have the same criminal record go before a judge. Do black people disproportionately get higher sentences?
Because they commit a disproportionate amount of crime.
No.
It's violent crime and it's drug trafficking.
No, you're not.
It's violent crime and it's drug trafficking.
So you're saying that I see a black guy, a white guy, they did the same crime, but because your community historically, wow, you want to bring that up historically?
Well, that could be access to lawyers. That's going to be a big one.
And so what happens when what community has the least access to wealth? It's black people.
And whose fault is that? Black people.
If we're constantly bro, you just admitted.
This is why nobody fucking takes black people serious, man. Like, this is crazy. Like,
I'm gonna let him go next because you have so much circular logic.
Over policing.
This was a fantastic opportunity.
CIA brought the crack in.
No,
dude, this is literally why everyone laughs at fucking blacks. Like, I don't know if you saw a bunch of niggas in the back are laughing at you. Like, all you got is excuses and complaints as to why you're a fucking failure. Like, bruh, like this shit is crazy. You know? Like, it's just absolutely nuts. It's like, how is it that people come here from Africa, don't speak the language, and figure it out and become successful? Meanwhile, we got these guys coming around, more racism. It's fucking clown world, bro. It's clown world. And this is why people laugh at the black community, because all they do is victim, 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 victim.